There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
SpongeBob doesn't shit. He's a sponge.
Yeah.
Sponges
constantly
shit, they
milk
just do
shit.
it directly into the dirt.
They just do it out of their pores.
I would have someone email us and tell us if sponges shit.
Well,
Yeah.
we haven't. All right. Are we ready to start?
CaveComedyRadio@gmail.com. Do sponges shit. Ben, start us off.
Oh, what the fuck? Welcome to Last Podcast, everybody. With Marcus Parks, I'm Ben Kissel. Yay! Who's here with us? The doctor, the dentist.
Hong Kong, Henry Zabrowski. Oh, we use dogs as meat and we keep cows as pets. Oh, China.
Cows come on. Jesus.
Oh, you see my cow in name it Bessie. Oh, I pet it. I give it little kisses on its big fat cow ribs. But kill that dog. Kill that dog and eat that dog in a stir-fry pan.
All right, well, we're tipping the big toe into racism there a little
Yeah,
bit. But that's
like
fun.
a couple of big toes. Big
That's
toe,
fun.
possibly the little
I'd
one.
say I got up to my ankle.
Yeah.
It's all right. Low tide, though. Low tide.
I gotta say, though, it's a pleasure to be back.
Welcome back, Hong Kong.
It's March, and everybody knows that brings madness. And but
Bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 da, 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 da. Is that the NBA music?
something like that.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 na, 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 na. It's Jurassic Park.
Boom, boom, boom,
They do move in herds.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Sounds like
no
a fun
expense.
experience. Well, nothing bad can happen here. Thanks, honey. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic honeymoon. We have decided to do, as opposed to collegiate basketball teams, we are going to be taking...
Because we have no interest in college basketball because it's
Right.
stupid.
And we
dumb.
can't really... yeah, that's the thing.
I hate seeing basketball played by children.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't go see a child's basketball game. I'm not going to go see an 18-year-old's basketball game.
Absolutely, I totally agree. If you're in college right now, look to the right at the dude in sociology
He's
class
not going to
with you.
be in your basketball team anymore.
No.
And look to the left. He's not going to be in your basketball team either. Look at yourself. You're on the basketball team.
Yeah, you're on it.
Think about what you're doing.
You're a center. You're a big, fat, tall woman, so you're immediately the center. You're also the catcher for the
But
softball
that
team.
WNBA I really like because it's really funny.
Fantastic. All right, so we are pitting the top 16 serial killers, and I guess...
March Madness! March Madness!
So we're going to take some real-life serial killers, some fictional serial killers. We're pitting them together in a tournament of death to see who is numero one top serial killer of all time.
I'm very excited. I think that everyone is going to be very surprised by our results. Surprised yet titillated, excited, and entertained.
It's similar. All right, so should we go through the top 16?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take the I guess we'll call it the Western bracket here. I'm going from the West. We have H.H. Holmes versus Jigsaw, of course, of Saw fame. We have John Wayne Gacy versus Martin from Human Centipede 2. Freddy Krueger versus Ramirez. And then, of course, lastly, we have Gary Ridgway versus Michael, the Freak Show Myers.
And coming all the way in from the Western Conference, put your hands together for Jeffrey, the Meat Man Dahmer.
I love you, Jeffrey!
Versus Dieter Laser, the doctor from Human Centipede 1. Jason Voorhees. Everyone give a shout out from Camp Crystal Lake. I'm drowning! Versus the son of Sam himself, David Berkowitz. We've got the Firefly family coming in from Texas, and the Manson family coming in from sunny California. And then rounded up with Ted, the ladies' man Bundy, with the Ghostface Killer from the Scream films.
Indeed. All right, matchup number one. We've got H.H. Holmes, the old Chicago Massacre mastermind himself, versus the one and only Jigsaw. Henry, who do you got in this epic battle of terrific proportions?
Now, we've got two here. These are true scientists of murder and mayhem, right?
Indeed.
H.H. Holmes is the builder of is a true life builder of a house of horrors. Everyone knows the story. Do you have the full stats on him?
I don't have the full stats on him. I have the number of deaths. He got charged with 27 victims,
27
but they
victims.
assume up to 200 possible victims. And if you don't know, H.H. Holmes came to popular fame during the World's Fair in Chicago. He had a large mansion, and he would have contractors come over and build new rooms constantly. And when the room was done, he would kill the contractor and the entire crew, bury them underneath the floorboards, so nobody knew what mysterious hauntings were happening in this mansion.
And those also consisted of a lot of various twisted hallways that would lead his self-described victims.
They were terrible contractors.
Yes, they were.
He only
very
got
bad.
first-generation Irishmen. They were wasted, and they were meandering, winding hallways.
Exactly, yeah. And they're like, oh, I'm the fucking dirt of Europe.
The dirt of Europe.
Yeah.
On this St. Patrick's Day, Henry, really?
I'm Scottish.
Okay.
And there would be various kind of labyrinthian hallways, like for women to like walk through that led them to crematoriums and shit like that. And that's real.
And then, of course,
versus Jigsaw, the murderer from the Saw films. Now, everyone knows that Jigsaw would set up various macabre scenarios that would lead in his victim's death in order to teach them some sort of lesson in morality.
this is the thing about Jigsaw, however, did not actually intend to kill anybody. He wanted to teach life lessons.
But
in
I'm
a perfect Jigsaw world, all of his victims would have survived.
But he also loved watching them die.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was a big fan
He
of
took great pleasure in
And
that.
now what we put here is just like, and what is his number? What do we have as his number of kills?
Jigsaw is a total number of 57 victims.
So, and that is over
57.
7 films, which seems to be, like, if you look at it, like, it's probably, how long did the series go? Probably about 10 years? It's been going for about 10
somewhere
years?
around there,
solid
yeah.
decade, yeah.
So it's like, I would say that he killed twice as many victims
Officially.
in half the amount of time
Right.
as H.H. Holmes. So I'm giving it to Jigsaw.
I'm going to be right on ship with you there. Let's give it to Jigsaw. I feel like he's the champion in this situation.
All right.
All
Yeah.
I wasn't consulted about this beforehand, so fine.
What do you think, Marcus? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on it is that I think that H.H. Holmes is a bit more of a craftsman, bit more of a
But look
mastermind.
at
He
the
didn't-
ornate thing,
Right.
ornate thing.
but we don't
that
even know
Jigsaw
who
built.
Jigsaw is.
You sort of do,
he's
though.
He's a cancer-riddled fella. I forget his name now.
I've never actually seen any of those movies.
All right, we're going to give it to Jigsaw. This is why we didn't consult with
This is
Marcus
actually
on
a
that
thing
one.
we talked about for a while. Is
Right.
you can't always give it to the real guy, because I understand. Yes, the real guy is real.
Yeah.
Those are actual
What I'm
human
tell-
deaths. But this is just one.
I firmly believe waking up in Jigsaw's chamber would be more terrifying than waking up in H.H. Holmes's chamber, because in H.H. Holmes's chamber, you're going to be killed. In Jigsaw's, you have a whole series of military-like activities you
And
have
it's
to do.
bigger than just a murder.
It is. It's bigger than a murder. And if you do survive, which you can do with Jigsaw, it's a fate worse than death. So that's why I'm going with
Because you have
Jigsaw.
to live with yourself.
Indeed. And you
Think
have to-
about that, listeners. Try and live with yourself for a single day.
They live with themselves every day.
Every day.
Isn't it
mostly.
horrible?
All right. Speaking of horrible, we got John Wayne Gacy, a very plumpy fella from Chicago as well.
My spirit animal.
Your spirit animal, killing another plumpy man, Martin, from Human Centipede 2.
Now, what we love about Martin from Human Centipede 2 is his iconic swing of his wonderful, what was it again? It was a hook.
Crowbar.
Right? Yeah, the
It was
crowbar.
a really one of the best swings I have ever seen, next to Michael Myers' thrust in the Rob Zombie Halloween remake.
Yes, and we also say he is the patron saint of horror fans everywhere.
Yes.
He's the guy
is.
who actually got to live the dream. He watched the movie that he loved over and over and over again, and then finally got to take that sweet revenge against every fucking hot chick that said no to him in
And
high
mildly
school.
unattractive chick as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And he's just
And pregnant women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and pregnant women.
Yeah,
He got
yeah.
her too. Ice him. Get him. Yeah.
And of course, in any other contest, perhaps Martin would be more of a formidable opponent, but here he's going against one of the world's greatest, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, Master of Mayhem, John Wayne Gacy. Now, the thing about John Wayne Gacy is what we all know. I mean, if you would have set up a scenario, John Wayne Gacy would never fuck Martin because he loved it tight. He loved tight like little boys. He liked tight workers.
That is true, but Martin was tight to some degree, especially when it came down to the sexual organs, as Captain Spaulding might call them. I think that John Wayne Gacy, perhaps in a drunken, horny night, would go with somebody like Martin.
There are no beer goggles that John Wayne Gacy could have had that would make him fuck Martin.
All right, well that's.
I got to go with Henry on this one.
I just think,
all right.
he likes tight little sandy blonde boys.
Martin
Yeah.
was very tiny though. Martin was maybe 5'3".
He was fat. He looked like, fucking.
He looked like you.
me. Yeah, and
Yeah.
John Wayne Gacy would never have fucked me.
and it's one of the saddest
I would
things.
never have been a victim of this.
John Wayne Gacy, also brutal, great clownsman.
Clownsmen, like us.
like us.
Yes,
So-
of the Brotherhood of Clowns. Welcome, John Wayne.
Indeed. And
I feed on laughter.
due to his feeding on laughter and his desire to kill multiple people, we're going to give the nut to John
We
Wayne
used to
Gacy.
also look at their number of kills, where it's like Martin had, what was it? What was the number?
12.
It was 12.
12 at 14, maybe?
But technically, he didn't really have any.
Well,
If,
don't
well,
wanna
if our fans,
spoiler alert.
if our listeners haven't seen Human Centipede 2, don't call yourself a fan.
And John Wayne Gacy had 33.
33. So we're going
that we know of.
And
That we know of, exactly.
His deep dark world was so intense, far deeper, because it was like the one thing about Martin is that Martin was the creature that, like, he was the murderer. John Wayne Gacy had to create a separate persona for himself in order
Right.
to forget his crimes.
Right.
So-
and Marcus, you make a good point. 33 that we know of. It's very similar to when a college freshman tells you he's fucked 12 chicks. Knock that number down by 10. But in this situation,
Knock it up by like 4.
At least 4, 5, perhaps even 16. So we're giving the nod to John Wayne Gacy. So the first contest in round 2 will be Jigsaw versus John Wayne Gacy. All right, let's move down. Let's go. Do you want to go over to the East real quick?
Yeah, should we move over to the other side?
Let's go over to the East, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
our first matchup is versus, Milwaukee's wayward son, America's favorite serial killer, in my personal opinion, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Funman Dahmer.
versus the very, let's say,
Precise.
German doctor Dieter Laser.
Who's is it
from
like,
Human Centipede.
and he's related to your grandfather.
Of course, he is my grandfather.
Yeah.
This is actually how I was born. I was
Now-
born through 3 different bodies of women.
Interesting.
They shat my little.
So that's why you're this tall.
Yeah, I have
It
3
stretches you out.
It's weird. So we have Dahmer versus Dieter. Who do you
I'm going
got?
to say that it's not a contest. Dahmer takes it down in the end because it's like I had Dieter. I mean, like Dieter got in there simply because he invented the human centipede.
Right.
You got to give him some credit for the fact that he medically created a creature. I mean, like not successfully because they died, and then he also,
Well, if they wouldn't have freaked out, they would have lived.
If they would have just calmed down and enjoyed the process, then it would have been fine.
They didn't respect the science.
And Dieter, like Jigsaw, theoretically did not want his victims to die.
Yeah.
He wanted to have a pet family. He
A
wanted to have-
Dreihund.
A Dreihund.
Yes.
Dreihund.
Yeah,
I think the
it's
worst
like
thing
going to the moon. It's like you can't fault the astronauts for polluting the moon,
Right.
But because they just wanted to go there.
And really, can you litter on something that doesn't hit the ground? Like if you throw your coffee cup
It's
on the
still
moon,
there.
it just
I mean,
goes
we
to
left
the,
a fucking flag there. That's
great.
littering in a way.
Yeah.
that flag is aging like Kevin Barnett.
If you've
beautiful
seen
black
Apollo
man.
18, you know for a fact that the moon is covered in space bugs. So the space bugs got littered on.
Don't see Apollo 18.
It's really fucking stupid.
But either way, yeah. So we gave the nod to Dieter. It is so bad. We gave the nod
Dahmer
to
fucking
Dahmer.
drugged and raped Dieter Laser, drilled a hole in his head to make him a zombie, and then fucking ate him.
And really, I think
Yeah.
that Dahmer, to some degree, granted he never went to medical school, but he might be a better doctor than Mr. Dieter.
And I would also say, I mean, he definitely his heart was even more in it. He was a poet of science. He was a poet of medicine, and Dieter was just a practitioner.
Can you imagine if one of the people that Dahmer drilled into and dumped a series of, I think it was Jägermeister, mostly, what if they did come back as a living zombie and he would be, the most well-renowned scientist of all time? It's
I
possible.
imagine that those were his daydreams.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's another thing about Dahmer that puts him on top. See, Dahmer had a victim escape, and he convinced the police to give the victim back to him. Dieter Laser,
He had to kill the
not
police.
happening.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the
once you make
the police
it,
came, and
I
they
agree.
saw through it immediately.
I agree. Good point. Good point, Marcus.
Immediately.
It really is a good point.
It is a great point. So we got it for Dahmer. All right, next, our number 2 seed and number 7. We haven't really mentioned the seeds, but we've seeded all of them as well.
And Dahmer was definitely the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Dahmer was the number 1 seed against Dieter, was number 8 in his
It
field.
wasn't necessarily the 1999 matchup against the Heat and the Knicks where the 8th seed took over the 1 seed.
Wow, it's a lot
and
of sports knowledge you just accidentally slipped in there, and I don't appreciate it.
I'm sorry for unnerdying the show. I don't even know if that did it. All right, so we got the number 2 seed versus the number 7 seed. The number 2 seed, Jason Voorhees, the Crystal Lake killer himself, against America's native son of Sam. Son of Sam.
Yeah, what was it? It's like, you know how Giuliani was America's mayor?
Uh-huh.
He's America's serial killer.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He's the 9/11 of serial killers, straight born and raised from New York City himself.
We proved that Son of Sam is the 9/11 of serial killers.
Right.
That's right.
On an earlier episode, we
Listen to
asked
it. Yeah.
some people out there in Queens to compare Son of Sam to something. The only thing they can compare it to was 9/11.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He made an indelible mark on the history of New York City with in terms of how he threw the whole city into terror. He was a master of mayhem, like all of these.
Nobody's once
gentlemen
argued
that
it
are
was
part
an
of
inside job, though. All of the shootings outside. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about
True.
that.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
However, Son
He's
of
actually
Sam,
apparently turns out they released him from prison, and he was on the Navy SEAL Team 6. He fucking did Osama, man.
he killed Osama.
Yeah, that's why they won't put the pictures there, because it's him next to Osama going like, yeah, fuck yeah, America.
Osama shouldn't have been making out at that drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
The thing is this.
He had that long brown hair.
I know. You never know what Son of Sam thought he was. The diss against Son of Sam, and this is why I believe Voorhees should take it. He killed 2 people, I believe. Mm-hmm. He attempted to kill 8.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
mean,
he killed more than 2.
I think he killed like 4 or 5.
He killed I'm pretty sure he killed 7.
No. He shot at multiple people. He did not have a very great kill rate. Yeah,
It doesn't
Marcus,
matter.
if you can get the numbers.
Read the number for Voorhees. What is Voorhees' number?
The number of deaths for Voorhees, 83 victims.
He had 83 victims over literally 25 years of activity.
And, I got to go with Jason to the degree that, first of all, I relate with him being a bigger guy who was mocked by, younger
He's not a good
kids.
talker like you.
A terrible talker. I prefer to wear a mask, and then not wear a mask. I love to swim and hang out near the bottom of all lakes.
Like a catfish.
Like a catfish. I've been called
so you're
that
just
before.
you're filled with brine.
Yeah.
But the thing about
Ben Kissel, the catfish of the New York comedy scene.
I've been called that before. I've definitely heard that before.
Oh, wow.
Tallest bottom feeder.
Your name is officially now the catfish.
Well, thank you.
Ben,
I'm
the
so
catfish Kissel.
thrilled. I really couldn't be happier.
Doesn't it sound good, though?
It sounds terrible. It will
What if we
stick,
call you
however.
the Caribbean catfish?
That's better. Thank you.
Ben, the Caribbean catfish Kissel.
Well, I'm thrilled. This is great. Thank you so much. But Jason, he acted out of love for his mother, and we can all relate to loving our mothers, and that's why I
I'd
think...
kill for that bitch.
And he killed 83 times for that wonderful bitch.
So we're giving it to Jason Voorhees. Do you have any objections?
God, no.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
the winner of that round, it's Dahmer versus Jason Voorhees. God, I'd love to see it.
All right, and that's the top of the East. Let's go back to the bottom of the West. We've got a number 2 seed fighting a number 5 seed. We've got Freddy, the child...
The Nightmare on Elm Street, man.
All right, the child fucker Krueger. And, of course, Richard... Hispanic Ramirez.
Same as the Night Stalker, goddammit.
Okay, all right, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, we put these guys in the same category because of the sort of the level of terror they cause. It's like
Right.
Richard Ramirez was undoubtedly one of the scariest figures in serial killer history.
Totally.
You would break in your home, you wouldn't know that he was there.
The
He would
definition of horror.
Yes, he was. It's very real and visceral. You just would be in your house for hours and no idea who was there, and then you went to bed, and then while you were asleep, you and your boyfriend, you're not even safe for you're alone with your lover. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're in this house, and then he puts a gun up against your fucking husband's head, and he starts raping you, and then he blows both your brains out,
Right.
and that's hard.
And,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, that-
really hard to do.
It's hard to do, and it must be more difficult to watch. And he is sort of the personification of Freddy when he gets pulled from the nightmare world. He is a living Freddy Krueger to some degree.
Yeah.
However, in this theoretical matchup, I'm assuming Ramirez needs to sleep. It's not easy to hold a gun to a man's head and rape his wife. You can only do that for a couple of hours before you're going to need a nice doze.
Yeah, and
I
then
assume
once
he
you
falls
actually,
asleep.
and I also feel that once you kind of get that itch scratched, you're you're laying pretty low.
Definitely.
for a long period of time.
Chameleon in the
Well, it's like,
sun.
how long was he active? He was only active for a year, right?
Oh, yeah, he was real. He was in
real
and out
short.
because he wasn't very smart. He left tons and tons of evidence.
What was his number?
Ramirez had
This is so sick, by
He
the way.
had 13 victims.
I just want to break for a second.
Well, I think they know. I think they know. He had 13 total victims.
Yeah, and how many does Freddy Krueger have?
Roughly 40. We couldn't get a number on it, but roughly 40.
Yeah.
We had anywhere from 37 to 45. So we just decided on
but
40.
I think that a lot of because like they list certain killers as sort of like compulsion killers, and then
Right.
some are like philosophical killers who
Right.
like think it out and they like do it for a purpose. Where it's like it seems like him, it's like he would do some sort of casing people out, but he wasn't like BTK. Where it's like BTK killed 10 people over 30 years and it was very planned. It was very disciplined. He really reacted to his urges and would kind of jump in there. And I think that once he scratched that it kind of laid pretty dormant. And in that moment of ultra vulnerability, that's when Freddy would use your weakness against you and stab you to death.
Well,
Put you in a roach motel.
that's the thing. Ramirez was not mentally strong enough to fend off and ward off a nightmare situation from Freddy.
Yeah.
I also want to mention we did not put BTK in this or Leatherface. We didn't do Leatherface because he's retarded. Number
Yeah,
one.
and he was a product of his raising.
wait.
He's a product of nurture.
Leatherface is sort of a victim.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you're excluding the retarded, why is Jason Voorhees in
Jason
there?
Voorhees isn't retarded.
He's totally retarded.
Are you fucking kidding me?
But look at the sheer volume.
He's a swimmer.
He's a
You ever seen
drowner.
Leatherface in water?
Leatherface was just a member of a family
Right.
and he only did certain things. So it was like I would say that the most dangerous person in that was fucking Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And then
agree.
what's I
Leatherface is
forget
like
the other one. I forgot the actual the voice of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like not the hitchhiker guy, the other guy, the gas station owner.
Yeah.
I forget
Leatherface
his
is
name.
more of
Are you out there? He was
You
incredibly
look just like him, by the way.
Yeah, that's your cousin. Yeah.
He's more of a Steve Kerr of the old championship Bulls team.
Okay.
So we gave this round to Freddy Krueger.
Naturally. All right. The final first round battle in the West. We've got Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer.
The Green River Killer was astounding. It's really fucked up. He killed for 30 years until they caught him 2 years ago. They caught him 2 years ago.
Well, no, it's a little bit longer than that now.
Yeah, he was.
It was
started in
this
1980.
It was this century at the very
Yeah.
least.
Oh, definitely. It was like 4 or 5
But
years
he murdered upwards of something. It's like 100.
71.
Yeah, it was 71, which is the
that
most
are
recorded
confirmed.
person of anyone who's ever been. He was convicted for 71 kills.
He's also one of those serial killers, though, who claims to have killed more.
Yeah, he claims to killed hundreds and hundreds.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he is also the only serial killer that could rival Geraldo Rivera for a beautiful mustache. The mustache on the Green River Killer, I can see why all the girls got into his car. Really charming. And he's going against maybe my favorite. It's a tough fight, Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, and we just straight up gave it. We got anybody who was originally going up against in a first round against Michael Myers.
It's gonna be
what's
tough.
his number?
Oh, Michael Myers has killed the most victims out of everybody on this list. 133.
He killed 133. Yeah.
Michael is a man. He's a passionate man, a Puerto Rican lover. He will not
Puerto Rican
allow.
lovers of serial killers.
Yes, he really is. And he
Michael,
was
the Puerto Rican
no one
lover, Myers.
Yeah, no one would. No one could get in the way for the love that he had for his sister. And that's pretty much the motivation for all of his murders, which is also very similar to why I like Jason so much. Yeah. Leatherface, going back to that argument, I don't think that Leatherface had enough intelligence to love the family.
Oh, all he wanted was to make his daddy happy.
Yeah, but I think it wasn't about the love for his father. I think it was more fear of punishment.
It was more fear of
doing
punishment.
things out of fear, then
You're not doing them
you're
out of
not
love.
serving your heart.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, so we won't talk about Leatherface anymore. So we got we got Michael Myers versus Gary Ridgway. You got to give it to Myers. However, this could be a nice battle. I could see Gary Ridgway trying to stab a couple of times in
He'd
there.
probably get a couple shots in.
But I think Gary might have made a big mistake when he picked up the wrong fucking Myers in Haddonfield to go kill
You
next to the
just
Green
don't
River.
pick up a 7-foot tall man.
Yeah, or his
Just
sister.
don't do that. Yeah.
All right, so in that battle, we're going to have Freddy versus Michael Myers, which is everybody's dream matchup.
Yeah.
God, that would be amazing. Because we got Freddy versus Jason, which was great. But I'd still want to see.
This is probably
Freddy
my
versus
favorite
Michael.
experience ever. By the way.
Like we did this for a while.
Are
this
you
morning.
enjoying this, Marcus?
This is awesome. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the one that I completely disagree with.
It's tough, right? I feel like we're making some pretty.
There's one that you are so wrong about. It makes me angry.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's go to the bottom of the West. We got the Firefly the Firefly family from the Devil's Rejects fame and House of a Thousand Corpses, the Rob Zombie creation.
Yeah, Captain T. Spaulding and Otis and Baby and what was what's the big brother's name?
Tiny, which
Yeah,
is
that's right.
ironic.
Yeah.
Against the Manson family.
With the Chucky Manson, with Big Time. I know. Listen, we're going to talk about this.
You better give me a compelling fucking argument
We've got
right now.
Squeaky Fromm. We've got, and so what we've put here, these are two. Like Charles Manson is the poster boy for serial killers across the world. He is the poster boy for random violence. The end of the 60s counterculture.
He is the poster boy. He is the poster boy not of serial killers but of manipulation.
Yeah, and then again, we were saying that he was just he was the official end of the hippie movement.
Right.
He was the marker that the entire counterculture had basically
he revealed the
failed
hippie movement for the disgusting,
what humans actually are.
Exactly.
And that you can't live in an altruistic society because there's going to be someone, no matter what, who will take advantage of that society.
And this is another thing that I'm thinking about. These are not blood relations to him. Manson had to go out, find these women, charm them in random bars. And Manson, not a particularly, he wasn't a Razor Ramon type character.
You want to come out to me, am I right?
Well, sell me.
It's called I like him.
Called the Spawn Ranch.
Yeah, exactly. So
All
what is
right,
it?
I'll come with you.
Can you guys, what is the thing that women were attracted to
His LSD.
about Manson?
Like literally, like
the
that's
pockets
what,
of LSD
That's
that
what
he
they
had?
talk about. It was like he used drugs and it was sex and it was like there was just a different mentality. People were going out there to lose themselves, to
Right.
like find something to grip onto. He seemed really exciting. He was hanging out with the fucking Beach Boys.
Right.
He was like he was like way deep in 60s counterculture. He was a criminal and he was kind of deep and dark and whatever, and he would say all this cryptic shit.
Right.
And you're all on LSD, and everyone's fucking eating each other's pussies.
And the social ramification, I'm not sure about the pussy eating. I hope that happened.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I like
I
it.
can
He
see
The social
used
ra-
all the girls as prostitutes.
I love it.
That they all made money for the family by selling themselves.
Right, which is actually, the
Which is like
Firefly
that movie-
family would never do that.
Fuck no, they wouldn't.
They did not prostitute. They only used what's the name of the beautiful gal? Rob Zombie's actual
Baby.
wife.
Spider.
Baby.
Spider's baby Spider.
Baby is so damn gorgeous.
Yeah.
The thing that gives
Cherry Moon Zombie, so beautiful.
Sherry Moon, I love you so much. The thing that really sets it apart, though, is they chose to go and aggressively. The Manson family, chose
is a
to go
hard
and
round.
It is a
Yeah.
hard round, and I get the argument, but they went to the hills. They went to places that were difficult to get to, and they actively pursued very successful Hollywood people. The murder of Sharon Tate is up there.
They
with
tried
the
to
murder
start a race war.
They tried to start. It is up there with the murder of fucking Robert Kennedy, man. The murder of Sharon Tate
Was
is nearly
huge.
just as famous and was just as publicized as the murder of somebody who very well may have been a president of the United States.
I would also grant the fact that the Firefly family are better killers because they're
Yes,
they're like
absolutely.
an amped up version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
They are.
Yeah, and that's why they're
runs-
my favorite
No.
family ever.
Ever in crime history.
ever.
Mine too.
I agree.
I love
But the
Devil's Rejects is my
Firefly,
favorite horror film of all time.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. The Firefly family, it's a very hard thing to say.
Firefly family.
The Firefly family was they were more of a trap. They waited for somebody to go to the gas station, run out of gas,
Well, in Devil's
get wrong
Rejects, they were on the
directions,
run.
Captain.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. The Devil's Rejects, I suppose they were a little bit more on the run, but the vast majority of their killing was people coming to them.
Coming
the
to their
Mansons, they had an entire ideology that was so powerful and so strong. They spent an entire evening
It's hard to not
mucking
say
through the
that-
woods to
that's-
go murder somebody.
It's like I chose the Manson family just because of how important they are to serial killer history. Like just in terms of
Yeah.
like they meant so much. They didn't actually kill very many. I think their number is 7. Where
Not
it's
to
just
mention Charlie Manson.
Well, see, here's what I'm thinking.
All right, what do you got?
This was my thought on
because
this.
we can be swayed.
Yeah, here's what my thought is on this, because I'm thinking, because for me this is one of the only matchups on this that there could be an actual battle. Like
Yeah.
this
Right.
is a fucking, because if I think, okay, there's two different scenarios here. Either the Firefly family attacks Spawn Ranch, or the Manson family tries to attack the Firefly family's
to say,
home.
right?
Yeah. It's real tough to say. And in either situation, the Firefly family comes out on top. Without a doubt.
In a physical
And
altercation.
That's what I thought we were talking about here.
But a
Well,
lot of
it's tough to
times it's
say,
also
though.
about what their crimes mean.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
That's the thing.
that is the thing. But
I mean, I feel like
don't
the
know.
Manson...
Actually, now that you say that, I guess that's
But I'm
fucking
telling
true.
you, man...
In
Yeah.
a physical altercation,
yeah,
you
an
could not
actual
kill the
physical
Firefly
altercation.
family.
Yeah.
I mean...
Those.
All right, let's go back to it.
Because we have in the past, precedent has been set that physical altercations do exist within this bracket.
No, I know that, but
of
I'm
course.
telling you, I don't think that I don't think you're giving the Manson girls and a couple of guys that invaded the home of Sharon Tate and whatever the name of her producer husband was.
I don't know. There's one thing. Breaking and entering is not that hard to do.
The
No,
one
it's not.
thing
But
I
they were
will
tripping
say-
out of their mind. I feel like they were drug strong.
Yeah. The other thing I would also say is if they had to jump on the Firefly family, I think that there's, because of the way they reacted in certain scenarios, I think that the Firefly family
little
had
more
respect but they also had respect for when someone gains the upper hand on them. Where it's just like they will fight tooth and nail because that was what's so attractive about them, is that they kind of have this weird fucked up honor system where it was just like, but if
They're a family.
if the Manson family got to beat them, they would let themselves be killed, because it's also a cool fucking ride to be murdered at the
wouldn't
hand of a family group that is better at killing than
I
you
would
are.
not be surprised if Charles Manson could out-manipulate Otis.
See, that's
I
going
think
to
that
be
he could.
that's the battle that I want to see, and I think in that final, because that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to Manson and Otis. And
Which is man, I want to fucking see it.
I want to see it so bad.
Larry Bird versus Michael
physically-
Jordan.
And
Oh,
Otis
we have
is
to
coming
solve
out
this
on
ro-
top.
We have
Otis
to
is
solve
coming
this
out on
round.
top.
We have to solve this round. So there's three of us here. Let's vote. Okay, so if you vote for the Mansons, raise your hand or speak into a microphone and say aye. I vote for the Mansons.
I vote for the Mansons. I have to
damn
give
it.
it to the Mansons.
I'm sorry, Marcus.
It's fine. I just
But
say
email us, by the way, fans. Email us and let us know what you think about
cavecomedyradio@gmail.com. But here, I'm gonna end on this.
Okay.
I think you fuckers ain't giving Texas enough credit.
Oh, it's a Texas thing! It's a Texas thing!
You take out the
Jesus
Leatherface
Christ.
family. You take out the fucking the Fireflies.
Oh, it's all about Texas.
In this case, yes.
I just have to give it to history.
All right, we have to go down.
I'll give it to
All right.
badassness.
The last
And
first
to baby.
round in the
Squeaky
West.
Frome.
or in the
If
East.
you put Squeaky Frome and Baby next to each other, which one are you going to want for?
Of course.
Okay, never
That
mind.
Squeaky's
Okay.
pretty hot, though.
Squeaky
All right.
is pretty hot.
All right, so it's been a heated debate.
I don't think she's probably gross.
Yeah, she's got to be really
But
gross.
even Baby is probably gross once you get close to her.
All right, we have to move on. We have to move on, for Christ's sake. All right, the final challenge in round one of the Eastern Conference. We have Ted Bundy, our 4 seed, versus Ghostface.
The ladies' man.
Versus
Rao.
Ghostface of Scream fame. This one, in my personal opinion, is a relative give to Ted Bundy. I think Ted Bundy
give
is
it to
stronger
Bundy.
than Ghostface.
Because the thing, the other guy was trying to prove a point about horror films, and Ted Bundy is just a straight up cold fucking murderer.
Yeah.
So it's like, when it comes down to it, it's not thrills. He's not doing this.
Right.
Like, he's not doing this to prove some point about weakness or strength like the guy from Scream was. Ted Bundy is in it for the lulls for himself.
Yeah.
And
And he's a great trapper.
yes.
He
Great trapper.
could trap that. Yeah, he could trap Ghostface instantly. No
I
problem.
think so as well. And Ghostface always, I mean, it's a fun character because it sort of broke the mold, especially given the 1980s version. Michael Myers, Freddy,
Scream
Jason,
series is
Leatherface.
wonderful, yeah.
love
The
Scream.
first time you saw Ghostface and you were like, is he falling down? Is he getting injured? He was such a vulnerable
Yeah.
serial killer, which I think is what made him so endearing and fascinating. But frankly, Ted Bundy's not
also-
playing
And
around.
the other great thing about Ghostface is, like, for about 20 minutes, you thought he might be Henry Winkler.
Yeah, for like
which
2
would have been awesome.
seconds. Yeah.
For like a little bit,
You're like, hey, I don't know, if we just hit that jukebox once. The other thing is that also what I like about Bundy, it's fine.
It's
is
fine.
that like the fact that he he went through very distinct phases of killings, which they talk about a lot with serial killers, where it was like he went through a very long period where he killed very calculated, and it was very and he was doing it for his own personal satisfaction. He was like using his brain, really trapping people.
Great
And
actor.
then then when he broke out of jail in Colorado and then committed the Florida State sorority killings,
Right.
that was him in full fucking berserker mode, and he ripped through Tallahassee like really badly. And they couldn't stop. They
What was
couldn't
his
stop
body
him.
count in Tallahassee?
I forgot what his body count in Tallahassee was. What was it total? It's pretty high.
It is a very high body count. I actually didn't expect it to be this high. It's 37.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And the thing about Bundy, all women.
They were
No men.
all
He
ladies.
never
Yeah.
killed a man. So,
Well, of course, he's the charming fella. He can charm women, but he can't charm men. And plus, it's
Well,
also a power thing.
I
as
bet
well.
he was also
Ghostface-
friends with men actually very easily, and that's what's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Well, no. Apparently, he was not friends with anybody.
Oh, yeah. He
His
couldn't-
personality type was, obviously
loner,
not
yeah.
suitable for Super Bowl parties and get-togethers.
Well, he seems like one of those guys that you get to know him.
He was like an
and
open
then-
mic host.
Exactly.
he's one of those guys
a little
that,
bit
like-
happier, but that's
Like,
about
whenever
it.
you first meet him, you're like, hey, this guy's all right. And then the first time just the two of you hang out alone together, you're like, ooh.
He's going to skin me. Good. Interesting. And I think
tacos?
the reason we gave it to Ted so quickly, I think Ghostface is a very feminine serial killer to some degree.
Yeah.
He's kind of weak. I mean, hell, I think Matthew Lillard played his body in the film.
he did.
Yeah,
that's
and Matthew
not-
Lillard's a fucking born
Fucking
victim.
diner.
All right, so we got Manson and Bundy. All right, so to catch you up to speed, round 2 of the West, we have Jigsaw versus John Wayne Gacy.
Are we going to be able to get this all in one episode?
Yeah, totally. We have Freddy Krueger versus Michael Myers.
God, yeah.
Round 2 in the East, we've got Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
And we've got Charles Manson versus Ted Bundy. Let's start with, I guess, the West. First one in the West.
Yeah.
We got Jigsaw versus John Wayne Gacy. This is a tough one. I mean, anytime you're going against a powerhouse like John Wayne Gacy.
But you're also going against two. Like they're both also manipulator killers. Where it was
Yes.
like they're both like Jigsaw. I mean, Jigsaw again is fighting for a specific motive, but John Wayne Gacy created an entire different side of his personality in order to deal with the things
Right.
he's done.
And I think John Wayne Gacy's motivation was not to help the individuals that he captured. His motivation was to come. And when that's your motivation, you will do whatever it takes to get it done.
You're going to do anything more depraved because the deeper and darker you go, the more loads you shoot.
That's the thing.
Like,
the
so-
darker the spunk, the bigger the
sweeter
smile.
the sweeter the pear. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a quote. Everybody knows that saying. And then, of course, there is, Jigsaw against John Wayne Gacy. You lock up John Wayne Gacy in a random room. That man's gnawing through his ankles every day when he wakes up anyway.
Yeah, it has no morality whatsoever. He's going to go for the self-preservation instantly.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And he will do anything against anybody to survive. I think that John Wayne Gacy would do very, very well in the series of challenges that Jigsaw tends to present to people.
You know, it could be said that any serial killer would do great against Jigsaw.
Exactly, because because it's about a bottom line.
Tough
It's
to
about-
say, though, if it's a weaker serial killer who is a little bit more, someone like, for example, Ed Gein. I don't think Ed Gein would have done particularly great against
Well,
Jigsaw.
he only killed 3 people.
And I don't believe that Ed Gein was a sociopath.
No, he was
An artist? A misunderstood artist?
He was next to retarded.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
He was like he had, wasn't a good thinker.
It could be argued that yes, John Wayne Gacy wasn't, or not John Wayne Gacy, that Ed Gein was an artist of sorts.
Of course, he was an upholsterer.
Yeah, he would. If Etsy was around then, he would have done amazing.
Absolutely.
I would have
And
bought any one of his face ashtrays through Etsy.
Of course.
And an artist must feel in order to create.
Indeed.
Therefore,
indeed.
he is not a sociopath.
So his mother made a beautiful artist, not a killer.
I will say one thing is that if you put John Wayne Gacy and Jigsaw together, but John Wayne Gacy's alter ego, Jigsaw and Pogo,
Fun
Jigsaw and Pogo is pretty.
Jigsaw and
As a
Pogo.
matter of fact,
television show.
it's actually a very great.
copyright Marcus Parks 2012. Don't steal it.
It's a great analogy, though. You have Pogo, and then you have Jigsaw. Of course, his alter ego is the small little clown face that rolls in on a tricycle or a whole series of other things. It's a very, very similar look.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot
to
of fun.
Pogo.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun getting splashed around.
It is. It is. All right.
Looks like we're giving that to John Wayne Gacy. We're giving round 2 to
I
John
want to
Wayne
give it to
Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. I just don't think Jigsaw could break him.
Nope.
No.
All right.
And
so
then
we
once they got face to face, you'd fucking rape him and murder him.
Yeah, he would.
all right. So then we have.
Right after he raped and murdered the puppet.
Ah, yeah, that would be so much fun for him.
All right, let's jump. All right, let's jump over to round 2 of the West. We have. I'm excited for this matchup: Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jason Voorhees. A battle of people who want nothing more than their parents' affection.
Yeah.
This is really. this is one of those matchups where it's like, I think psychology plays a big part. I think Jason Voorhees, obviously physically bigger, faster, stronger, can wield a better knife than Dahmer.
Technically unkillable.
Yes. However, I mean,
unless he gets blown to bits, and even whenever he gets blown to bits, all that has to happen is someone just needs to eat his heart.
Someone has to eat his heart, and
who is the man for that job?
Jeffrey fucking Dahmer.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is why, I mean, just to be real.
But whenever you eat Jason's heart, Jason possesses your body.
But
perfect. That's what he wants.
Dahmer has eaten so many hearts and so many souls. That's the thing. I mean,
it's just joining the party.
Exactly. It's just Freddy Krueger's stomach. You recall when the souls were all just trying to escape. I mean, that's Dahmer's stomach. That's the whole thing. So, I mean, I think that Dahmer would psychologically be able to impair Voorhees to the degree that he could get Voorhees to sit down on his couch, watch an episode of Anderson on TV.
I think there's there's not a lot of talk of just how physically hard it is to kill and dismantle a human body.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be really strong in order to do that. The human body does not come apart very easily. He was using hacksaws. He was doing stuff. I'd really be surprised if Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't actually. I imagine he was pretty
Dahmer
strong.
was a big guy.
Yeah, and Dahmer, and he was a big guy and very muscular. He worked out a lot. Like he was a runner. Like that was his big thing.
Voorhees would probably stab him 3 or 4 times, but then Dahmer would probably, it's just like, as long as we can get back to his fucking apartment, as long as you can get back to the old fucking 667, I forget what his address was, but you get back
in
there.
Milwaukee. I mean, that's the thing. If you get, of course, theoretically, Dahmer goes to Camp Crystal Lake. If he can get Jason out of Camp Crystal Lake somehow, he's easily going to win. But I think that Dahmer could even win inside of the camp.
Friday the 13th, Part 9. Jason goes to Milwaukee.
Yeah! He just gets a small industry job at a brewery, makes a nice living, has a couple of fat kids, dies at 80. His wife, lives 5 more years longer and dies as well. That's pretty much the life of everybody in Milwaukee. But I think that, Jason, I can't recall a time where he had his head drilled and then filled with a substance that was not meant for human consumption.
We're also just looking at Dahmer's the number 1 seed here, and he's the number 1 seed for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Dahmer.
I'm thinking this is gonna be a buzzer beater. This is a double OT buzzer beater.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hard win, but he's gonna win.
Dahmer.
All right, Dahmer got that one. All right, let's go down to the bottom. Second round of the West. We have, this is a fun one.
Although, one thing, though, is that you do have to take into account he did let a small Vietnamese boy or a small Filipino boy go.
But he got him back. You don't know how slippery they are.
Right.
They can actually fit under doors like cats.
Okay.
That's good old American time.
Just lost the Philippines.
Wow,
who we do actually have.
I know, we have our friends in Cambodia, by the way.
I'm really sorry. I don't know if that's true. If it is, it's only helping
we
me.
do. We had the breakdown. We have multiple countries. Cambodia is one of them.
We got Qatar. Hello to our listeners in Qatar.
I just think it's like CIA operatives in those countries just listen to us to keep us on the fucking list.
Good. Hello, CIA.
Hello. Keep on listening. All right.
Keep it coming. Love the jokes.
Second round of the Western fucking conference. We've got Freddy Krueger versus Michael Myers.
Man, talk about another buzzer beater. This is a movie. This is 3 movies.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And, whatever happens in this situation, I'm going to be both happy and heartbroken because you got to love both these characters and so very, very much.
I'm going to look at this one in terms of, like, Mike Myers in many ways is still just a child trapped deep inside a large man's body because that's where it started. That's where psychosis started. Freddy Krueger knows the mind of a child. He knows how to manipulate it. He can get into Mike Myers' head. We've seen that scenario before. He's got a very delicate brain, Mike Myers. It's like, that, like, he halts sometimes. He can kind of get stuck in, like, what he's doing.
It's called catatonic schizophrenia.
Yeah, and Freddy Krueger, it's also, he's not bound by the physical realm. And I think that in his dreams, Mike Myers will be very vulnerable.
I agree.
As we see in Freddy vs. Jason, if you want to take history, Freddy vs. Jason, that's where he got Jason in any way, shape, or form, is that he pulled him into his dreams, and that's where Jason was vulnerable. I
will say, I think that Jason is even more vulnerable than Michael Myers in his dreams because water was the thing
That's
that could
right.
stop. Water is the most prevalent substance on Earth.
Yeah, it's like in the
that's
movie
the
Science.
thing.
Yeah.
If that's your kryptonite, this is the worst planet to possibly be on.
Yeah, because all I have to be is
all of
on
it
a
is-
swim team.
Right. All you have to,
And I'm sick.
You have to play water polo and you're fine. I mean, so I think that it would be tougher to find the sensitive spot of Michael's psyche.
But he would go
you can
deep.
do-
He
I mean, it would just be the sister.
Freddie would shoot into his memories. Freddie would shoot deeper and deeper
Right.
and darker into his memories and find the original impulse that
but
made him what it was.
It
Besides
won't
being
be.
born
It won't
evil.
be as easy as breaking a water main and realizing Jason can't go through it.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. It's going to be a fight for Freddy. He's going to have to go down a whole series of mental circles the entire time being viciously stabbed and beaten the fuck out of by Michael.
Yeah.
Until he figures out like one specific memory that we don't know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it has to be, it would probably be a moment where he was in the store and his mother just denied him, a milk or like did not like.
Yeah, I remember that memory of mine, and that's what set me off to be this way I am now.
Right. It's going to be something super small that we don't even think about that
Mommy,
Freddy
I
is going
want
to be
a
forced to
Zeppeli.
find.
I want a Zeppeli, Mommy.
You can't have any more Italian donuts, son.
So when you fall asleep, Freddy's going to find that memory, and you're going to be put in that catatonic state.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you, though, because he went to prison at a very young age after he murdered his family. His mental growth halted right there. He's still a child. We've got to give it to Freddy.
Yeah, the labyrinth of Michael Myers' mind is going to be difficult.
It's going to be tough.
But Freddy's going to make it through. Because he's crafty, and
he
he's
is.
much smarter.
And in Dream World,
And
I
it's
mean,
funny.
he's very, very funny.
Hilarious!
All right.
Hilarious.
So that closes up the West. Right now, we've got John Wayne Gacy versus Freddy Krueger.
I want to read that as a fucking novel.
I know.
Oh,
man.
God, that's such... Oh, my God. Oh.
All right, let's finish up the East Conference. We've got Charles Manson,
And
the
his
Manson family, versus Ted Family-less Bundy. He
Yeah,
has no family at all. Ted Bundy versus Manson.
Oh, this
I would
is an
jump right into this.
This is an easy one.
I would say, Bundy's got to think for the ladies. Manson family is mostly ladies. I think
Exactly.
that Bundy would cut through those ladies so hard because I think that if he was alive in 1968, Ted Bundy would have been Charles Manson.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like he would have been that.
Rarely does a charming man meet his match in a situation like this. Charles Manson will be talking to the gals, convincing them of what he wants to get done. Ted Bundy will come over and
Who's
sweep
handsome.
them off their fucking feet.
Here's the one thing, though. This is the one speed bump. Ted Bundy, total square.
That is true. He was a
Total
young
square.
Republican, and
Yeah.
he was trained as a lawyer. But
Interesting.
you've
though.
ever seen The Man with One Red Shoe by
No.
Tom Hanks, fucking Carrie Fisher? Is it a weird thing to bring up?
Is it Philadelphia?
This is probably the first time that movie's ever brought up in this context.
Yeah.
But I would say that sometimes the kooky girl. Also, what was the other movie with Melanie
Dharma and
Griffith
Greg?
and Dharma and Greg is a
Yeah.
great. Yeah, exactly. It's a Dharma and Greg scenario.
I agree.
You got
I
like
agree. Wow,
uptight.
that saved the entire thing. Darman Greg, it is. I agree.
Yeah, you got uptight guy with like button down. He's wearing a suit today, but you got a freewheeling girl. Sometimes just wants to break him out of a shell.
Yeah.
Right.
And they think they're doing that for Ted Bundy, and
They're
then
so
Ted Bundy,
sick of chasing Manson.
stabs
They're
him
so
to death.
sick of being like not as hip as Manson. They're like, okay, we get it, Charles. You trip more.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
the fucking
Blizzards are the
coolest,
devil.
flippiest
His son is
dude.
pointing us towards a race war. I get it.
Whatever. But then Ted comes and they're like, that's a dude I can undress and change. And women love to change men.
Or just
Yeah.
straight up want to fuck him. You know what I mean?
All
Just
right.
straight up just be like, he's handsome, I want to fuck him.
Yeah, you're
Charles,
ugly. I didn't
Charlie's
realize
kind
how
of gross.
ugly you are.
Charlie's real gross.
I'm sorry, girls. I don't mean to say, but is any guys, hey guys, have you ever thought once that like Charlie's like really gross?
Yeah. I'm gonna go
Like
fuck
when you're
Ted.
not on acid, like when you can't get any. It's
He's like a bad kisser and he like smells bad and he's
Every
like bad
time I
at
look at
sex.
him, I feel like I'm on acid.
like his pubes.
It's like one dread.
They're always on fire. All right, so we're going to give that one to Bundy.
Bundy,
I think
easy.
Bundy could steal the family, so it's the
Yeah.
Bundy family.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have Jeffrey Dahmer versus Bundy, and we've got John Wayne Gacy versus Freddie.
Let's go first, John Wayne Gacy versus Freddie.
All right, let's do it.
I'm going to put here that I think that the one place that John Wayne Gacy would be vulnerable is his dreams, because that's where you'd find the secret self. That's where you'd find the divide between him and like what makes it his killer
Yeah.
for him, and
I'm gonna
Freddie would
disagree.
manipulate that and kill him.
I don't think that John Wayne Gacy's dreams were that horrifying for him, and I think John Wayne Gacy was very well in touch with himself. I don't think Freddy would have the best time on earth.
John Wayne Gacy had a dork. That's why he professed his innocence. Even though you kept saying, like, that's not me. Like, all those interviews, he was expressing his innocence throughout the whole time, even though there was, like, because he had a door shut on that
But
world.
do you think Freddy can open that door?
Yes.
Freddy can't open all doors.
Freddy can go to that because these are specifically
that's what
vulnerable
Freddy
people.
does. Like, Freddy is the opening of doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, he knew that Johnny Depp was terrified of waterbeds.
Well, everyone's terrified of waterbeds. They hurt your back.
Yeah, he knew that.
It's
he
so
knew
relaxing,
that girl.
though. It's like sleeping on a big bag of soup.
It is. It really is. It's awful.
This is an epic episode.
I mean, I do think John Wayne Gacy would give Freddy a good fight mentally, and there's a chance that John Wayne could always bring Freddy into reality.
Mm-hmm.
John Wayne Gacy being a much bigger fellow, they both enjoy young children.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not as if Freddy can really use that against John because they're in the same boat, they're in the same club. You know,
True.
so you really
We've
have
never
two.
seen him go against a pedophile.
He doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Because how can you haunt somebody that would haunt you?
I think they
Every
just end up
memory
being
that he would-
friends.
Yeah, see,
They-
that's
they
what
might
I'm-
just end up being friends, yeah.
Yeah, this is the second time, and you know what's funny? This is the second time that we've said, like, maybe they could be friends. Both times, John Wayne Gacy.
Because in his normal life, he was a real palsy kind of guy.
He was a clown. He was hilarious. Kids loved him. Adults loved him. Always showed up on time. He was the exact opposite of Howie Mandel when he played that character in Uncle Buck when he came in the mouse car.
Yeah.
Get in your mouse. Get the fuck out of here.
Another good reference to bring up in this whole thing. I love it.
Thank you.
Let's
Yeah.
taint all of these memories.
Uncle Buck, Darman Greg.
Darman
still-
Greg tainted itself.
I'm just still going to give it to Freddy. I'm just going to give it to Freddy because he's a fucking dream lord.
All right, we'll give it to Freddie. But I want to make it clear to everybody at home, I think this would be a tight challenge because Freddie would be sort of looking in the mirror at himself when
he
he
wants to kill
sees
them.
the horrors that John Wayne Gacy has in his own mind.
No, I think he would turn him into like a pig or like do something ridiculous to him. Like he would turn into a very
like some sort of Disney character witch?
No, you just like all of a sudden John Wayne Gacy would like be on like a plate on a dinner table and then like with an apple in his mouth and you see Freddy Krueger like just like time for dinner and then like stab him in the asshole.
I
Or-
think
yeah.
you should have eaten before the show.
I'm hungry.
Or what could also happen is that he finds John Wayne Gacy's childhood, and then he rapes little John Wayne Gacy and then slits his throat.
Perfect. All right, it goes to Freddie. So Freddie is in the finals. All right, we have to solve the East now. We have Jeffrey Dahmer versus Ted Bundy.
Now this scenario I really like.
All right.
Okay. Ted Bundy's at a bar. He's wearing
Cast.
he's wearing a cast like he normally would, because that was like, for those of you who don't know, that's how he sort of lured his victims. He would come from a position of vulnerability. They would get into his car and then he'd beat them to death with a pipe. That's
Right.
what he would do, and he'd rape them and beat. And
he relied on the sympathy of women.
Dahmer rolls into the bar. Now, what was the name of the place? What was his name of his favorite bar? You
Mad
remember?
Planet.
The
Mad
Mad
Planet.
Planet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's say he just randomly chose
One of
Mad
his
Planet,
favorite places.
right?
Mhm.
One of his. Dahmer walks in, sees Ted Bundy, right? This vulnerable, good-looking young man. I mean, normally Dahmer's a Filipino guy. He loves the Asians, but he sees this person, and it's like, oh, look at this. It's like, this is someone who, normally, like he goes for male prostitutes and stuff like
Right.
that. People are normally very vulnerable.
Exactly.
Right?
We have a collision of a perfect storm for both these individuals.
One is like a spider. Ted Bundy's like a spider, like when you draw it in. You
Right.
draw in your victim and you kill them. Dahmer is a fucking hunter. Dahmer goes to look for the weak and picks them up like a jackal, right? They're in this bar. Dahmer does the same thing he always does. Sees Ted Bundy, they strike up a conversation.
Right.
They're like, Ted Bundy's kind of cool in his heels, waiting to see what he's going to do, and so they're kind of
And
hanging
Dahmer
out or
doesn't,
whatever.
I mean, and you would assume Bundy doesn't have much concern for Dahmer because he likes to fuck women.
Exactly.
So he's not going to be paying attention to Dahmer's body language.
One question. What is Ted Bundy doing in a gay bar?
Ted Bundy would go to a whole series of places wherever women were, and if you've ever been to a gay bar, 25% of the people
perfect
in there,
way to fool a woman is pretend that you're gay.
There's that.
Good point.
And you get the sympathy of like, oh, my brother's gay or my friend's gay. I'm just here for them. You know how it's a little different for me, but I'm open-minded. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Yeah.
Dahmer,
Good point. Good
and then
point.
Dahmer does his normal MO where he slips him a fucking Mickey in his drink.
Right.
Ted Bundy is incredibly out of it.
Not
he
to
gets
mention,
him into his apartment
if you
and he fucking offs him.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but before that even, you're going to have Bundy. He's going to be forced to fake the injury throughout the entire night. It's not like he can, be like, yo, dude, by the way, this is a fake fucking cast. Leave me alone. So when he goes to the bathroom, Dahmer's going to be there to help him. He's going to carry his crutches while he stands and takes a pee-pee. He's going to make a real connection.
Just like, this is so sweet. Everyone's looking at this. I'm getting deeper and deeper into this. Everyone's like, man, I'm really building a fucking case. I'm going to get some sweet snatch tonight.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's knock time. He's out. He's out
to
cold,
mention-
and he wakes up in fucking Dahmer's fucking prison room, and then he's gone.
In a bucket of ice. Not to mention Dahmer, he's gay, but very closeted. And as we know about the Republican Party and every other closeted
Yeah, they're probably
homosexual-
sitting there talking about how much they hate
Shit.
fags the whole time.
Yeah, they're talking about how much they hate fags, but also they're talking about how much pussy they're going to get. So Dahmer's like, oh, yeah, I eat tons of pussy. I love pussy.
love
pussy smells so good.
Let me buy you a drink,
pussy.
buddy.
I love it. Oh, pussy. Gay guys, closeted gay guys say pussy more than anybody on the face
They
of the planet.
really like to say, yeah.
Wait a second.
So I find that gay guys are so much more comfortable saying the word pussy than straight guys.
Yeah, they're covered-
it makes
straight guys-
me a little icky.
We know.
Like pussy,
I would like to say that I love pussy. I don't love pussy. I just need it. It's weird. It's gross. It smells bad and it's squishy. It's like I've never once been like, oh, I love
physically
pussy.
addicted.
I love to touch things that feel like they should be sponged in a plate. It's like no. Only gay guys who've never smelt or touched a pussy are like, oh, that sounds like fantastic. It's like war. If you've never been to war, you're like, I love war. But as soon as you go, you're like, that's disgusting.
The things that I've seen.
Right. So
God, the vaginas that I've seen.
exactly.
My God.
And a war-torn vagina is just as bad as a war-torn Afghanistan. So we're going to give it to Dahmer.
I vote for Dahmer.
Yeah, Dahmer.
I think that,
absolutely.
So this is the final round. This is the fucking
All right,
championship
so-
round.
Oh,
of this.
yeah.
Ladies and
We
gentlemen,
got
we
to
have
this.
come to a long conclusion. This has been my favorite experience, really, in about 15 years.
I really like to get down. I want to write a whole book about this.
We could really do it. So, we have seen the likes of H.H.
Copyright Henry Zabrowski, 2012.
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes losing to Jigsaw. We saw the Firefly Flame getting beat up by the Mansons, and it's all led us to Freddy versus Dahmer. Now, this matchup is a match made in hell. This is going down to the wire. It's like that 7 overtime game in collegiate basketball a couple of years ago that really blew the fucking lid off the place.
Freddy Krueger, which is like it is my favorite of the horror icons.
Me too.
And Jeffrey Dahmer, who is really like a man of nightmares, a man of like a secret, awful world. He lived in his own hell. He brought hell to earth. He's a demon.
Of our generation, whenever you think serial killer, you think Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Like if there
Dahmer.
was somebody that if you wanted to call someone crazy, you called him Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
proud. Wisconsin proud.
So
I'm going to say this. Okay, so pro Freddy first. Dahmer has a whole series of secrets and a whole series of things he never wants anybody to know. When he killed the cat at a young age, he used to run over with a tricycle. He was killing random animals. His homosexuality, he never wanted anybody to know about. So Freddy could go into the nightmares of Dahmer, and I think he could tweak with him and fuck with him to tears. I think you could have Dahmer naked in the corner, though.
Dahmer was the king of psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I really think that of anyone who was in charge of his own nightmares, it was Jeffrey Dahmer. I think that if Freddy Krueger went into his dream world, Freddy Krueger would be like, oh,
Inspired.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, just be like, wow.
I had no idea
you're really
how
good.
scary I could be making things.
The one thing that I think that he could... Jeffrey Dahmer's biggest fear, because he was a teenage alcoholic. He was a huge alcoholic because
his
he
entire
tried.
life.
Yeah, he was a huge alcoholic because he kept trying to kill the gay.
Yeah. Right.
Like he kept trying to.
Which is,
and
again,
I
it's him and John Wayne Gacy are very similar, but
Yeah.
he just created his world. John Wayne Gacy just
Yeah.
put it in his basement.
Yeah,
John Wayne
like,
Gacy
you could
did-
see it in the way that they keep their victims.
I think-
like John Wayne Gacy literally hid them underneath his house, and fucking Dahmer lived with them.
Yeah.
You sat on a
lived with him,
table
put him in the
his house.
freezer. Every single human interaction in his apartment involved a corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I think that Freddy could attack is Dahmer's self-loathing homosexuality.
Right, I think
that is his only point of attack in
Dahmer
this situation.
also claimed to have a very troubled childhood. However, he later recanted that, saying it was just a normal upbringing in Wisconsin.
Which means that he
And
was
I
just
think it
stone
wa- I
cold
think it
evil.
Yeah. I mean, it really wasn't that normal of an upbringing. His mother suffered from cerebral palsy, was absolutely insane. His father was non-existent. His
that's
family
pretty normal. Really, to some degree, it's not the most abnormal.
Well, that's what he would do to actually gain friends. The only thing he could do to gain friends was to do impressions of his mom with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
But that's what I do. I'm making a living making fun of Chinese people. Yeah.
No, I do an impression of my mother. She has AIDS, though, so you can't really see it.
My mother has muscular dystrophy. It's weird.
All right.
My mom's just a house mom.
Nonetheless, let's get off the mothers for a second.
My mom does not have muscular dystrophy.
I was overloved.
She's a very... Yeah.
That's the thing. We're all just hugged too much, and that's why we have this callous conversation about serial killers. But that's fine. So he could always play on Dahmer's closeted homosexuality. He could maybe delve into the fact that he worked at a chocolate shop, and Dahmer never really allowed himself to express his homosexuality
But
the way
if
that John
Dahmer-
Wayne Gacy did, though. John Wayne Gacy let himself be a clown, and what's gayer than a clown?
Yeah, it's true.
You know.
But I think that if Dahmer were to pull Freddy into his world, if Freddy were to show up,
I think the irony of it, though, is-
there are like two real definitions of real world hell, which was like Adolf Hitler's fucking bunker. Underneath Berlin in the very last days of World War II, and Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment was the epicenter of evil. As soon as Freddy Krueger was pulled into this world, in Jeffrey Dahmer's fucking living room,
I agree.
he's a dead man.
Yeah.
The people that
That's
lived, the people that escaped, there's like the one person that escaped from Jeffrey Dahmer should have played the fucking lottery, because you are so lucky,
Right.
because you were in a perfect playland of a fucking psychopath
escaped out of San Quentin.
sex den. Yeah.
I totally agree with you, and this is a good point. Freddy only got drugged out of his world into relatively peaceful neighborhoods. Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, Elm Street was as upper middle class as you can possibly get. He went to they were white, people's homes. They
I
tended
also
to be
think
women.
that Jeffrey
I think
Dahmer-
Freddy
Freddy Krueger's top nemesis was named Nancy.
Right. It's a good point. Good point. And so Freddy getting drugged into a world where there's human corpses in the bed, there's heads in the freezer, hearts, just hanging out as an ashtray. He would have been like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm a child molester."
That's all Freddy did. He was just a child molester.
right.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer is just like, that's just what I picture. He's the heart of evil.
Yeah.
He was like I think it's the same soul and brain that Hitler had was in Jeffrey Dahmer.
Not a
It's
good
just
public
that.
speaker, though. That was
No,
literally
he
the
wasn't a
only
good
difference
actor,
was
yeah.
the fact that Jeffrey Dahmer could not relate
Not
to
a
human
funny
beings.
guy.
Not a
Freddie
funny
Krueger
guy.
again is really funny.
Very, very funny. So Dahmer's nightmares.
And also, I don't
are-
think Dahmer knows how to laugh.
No, I imagine that Dahmer's
I
like,
bet you-
it's just like silent, like everyone is laughing, then him like going like, ha
Dahmer must have laughed at like the weird, like he just filled somebody full of liquids and they shook and he's like, "Oh, I thought he was alive again." So Dahmer's nightmares, I think, equal Freddy's worst nightmare creation. You bring him into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which no demon wants to be at. He sees all the corpses. He freaks the fuck out. He gets drilled in the head full of a series of liquids. Next thing you know, Dahmer is fucking Freddy's corpse. We gotta give this to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer, the winner.
The Sweet 16. Congratulations, Jeffrey Dahmer. Your soul is still burning in hell, but you are this year's Sweet 16 serial killer winner. This has been the last podcast on the left for Marcus Parks, Ben Kissel, Henry Zabrowski. We will talk to you very, very soon.
I'm sorry, Philippines.